After a model of a 787 and an Embraer ERJ-190, we finally get another Royal Jordanian model in scale 500 from Herpa Wings. But is it any good? And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at an Airbus A320-200 of Royal Jordanian Airlines. At the front of the box we have the cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and at the top of the box we have the Royal Jordanian branding. The back side of the box unfortunately is a complete letdown. It looks cheap, it is not protective for the model, and I really hope that Herpa will reconsider it. So the only thing worth mentioning here is simply that it is a limited edition. So as mentioned in the beginning of the video, Herpa has released a 787 and an Embraer ERJ-190 in the current livery of Royal Jordanian Airlines. Yes, there have also been some classic airliners released, but let's focus on the modern airliners. And now we finally get an A320 of the airline. And from my personal view, that has been long awaited, not just because the model is quite delayed, but simply because how can we not have had such a model before? I mean, we had in an old generation, but not in a new generation model from Herpa Wings. So let's take a look. And at the tail of the aircraft, or more specifically on the vertical stabilizer, we find the Royal Jordanian branding. On the fuselage we then have the flag of Jordan, the aircraft type specification and the full registration code of the aircraft. We do also have a little bit of detailing around the APU exhaust, although that is rather basic. Then at the front of the aircraft, across the fuselage, we have the Royal Jordanian branding again, both in English writing and in Arabic writing. Now, what bothers me on the model here specifically is the lack of the One World logo. Royal Jordanian is a full member of the One World Airline Alliance, and the aircraft in real life does have a One World logo. So what happened here, Herpa? Did you just forget the logo? But to be honest, it's not the only little bit disappointing part here at the front of the aircraft. When we look at the nose, we of course have very little details. I mean, okay, we're used to that by now. We have the name of the aircraft and we have the window wipers printed on, that's it. But what I'm actually more disappointed with here is the shape. From some angles you can see there's like a little bulb just around the cockpit windows, which looks a bit strange. Now, I have not heard anyone else complaining about this issue on this model, so I believe this could just be a one-off on this specific aircraft model. But just take a good hard look at it before buying it, just to be sure. Now, if we move on to the engine itself, we can see they have been given the same dark grey color like most of the fuselage. I really love this color. And then just a splash of red just makes the engines pop out. Looks so awesome. And then we also have the lovely silver leading edge. And even though we don't really have any other printed details on the engines, I think overall they look rather decent. And of course, if you look into the engines from the front, we can also very nicely see the engine fan blades. And then we should definitely also take a look at the wings, which for me are pretty much the highlight on this aircraft model. If we look here at the top side, we have the different flaps, slats and spoilers carved out very nicely. We have the markings for the emergency exit, which of course also are printed on the fuselage themselves. And we have very lovely also detailed the line as to where to walk on the wing. Also the underside I think looks rather decent, where we also can find the full registration code of the aircraft once again. Also pulled off pretty much to perfection are the wingtip fences. Herpa is doing a really good job with those, and I really love how they look with the Royal Jordanian red. And then we can also take a quick look at the landing gear here, the main landing gear underneath the wings, and overall, yeah, it's a good standard. And it's difficult to really find anything to complain about with it, unless, of course, you know that the earlier versions of the A320 landing gear from Herpa Wings looked better, which is really confusing. Why actually decrease your detailing? I will never understand that. What I also will never understand is why Herpa willfully destroys really awesome details on models with an hole for a stand which is not included with the aircraft model. This print of Royal Jordanian across the belly of the aircraft looks awesome. So why keep destroying details like this? We've seen it on so many models and I will never understand why Herpa keeps doing it. And then last but not least, we of course also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here in the backside of the aircraft. And here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Airbus A320-200 in the current livery of Royal Jordanian Airlines. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Well, I mean, I really want to like this aircraft model. I love the livery of Royal Jordanian first of all, so any model that comes with that is already having good chances that I like it. On the other hand, you have all the typical Herpa nonsense. The hole in the fuselage, the landing gear that used to be better than what it is today, a One World logo that mysteriously has gone missing. Oh yeah, by the way, there's also this strange little logo that I tried to figure out what it's about. I don't know what it is about, but what I do know is that other than the shape, it really does not look anything like that on the real aircraft. On the other hand, I think the wings on this model are pretty much some of the best A320 wings I've seen from Herpa Wings ever. So here at the end of the video, I find myself really wanting to like this aircraft model, but at the same time really struggling because of all these inconsistencies from Herpa Wings. If you can look past all of these inconsistencies, then I would say absolutely it's an aircraft worth having in one's collection. If not, then save the money and look for a different aircraft model. Now with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like, that really does help us out. And of course, if you are new around here, you're always welcome to hit subscribe. With that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.